Hey, and welcome back to the MT Doc podcast, our brain tumor battle, this crazy fucking ride that has taken every single direction except for a direction of logic. And our goal has been one, to learn how we build mental toughness while coping with a brain tumor. And today is maybe one of the most important days of this whole project, and it is the day that I received my biopsy results. So last night after filming the episode, I go up to my room, I wash this nice little meat pie that's sitting on top of my face, and as I'm scrubbing, all of a sudden a nice chunk of meat just kind of falls off of my face, sits on my eyelid, and I'm saying to myself, oh shit, I'm already going back to the ER. I talk with my friends and they say, look, my friends that are doctors, yeah? And they say, look, if you're gonna be there in 12 hours and you're gonna get a biopsy, then just try and wrap it up as good as you can. So I find myself mummifying my face once again, and honestly I wasn't even concerned because the biopsy is that much more important. You know, the biopsy literally says one of three things. It says I'm cured and it's not cancerous. It says it's cancerous and I'm starting radiology and chemotherapy, or it's cancerous and we got to do another brain surgery. So obviously this little meat pie is the least of my concerns. Got up super early like always, asked my father to pick me up, and we drive. My mom asked to come, my wife wanted to come. I told everyone, listen, this is a personal process. I want to go into this alone, not because I disrespect any of you guys, not because I don't think that any of you are part of this process, but because I need to hear this. I need to be here. I'll even record the conversation so you can hear word for word exactly what was said, so you can know that I didn't exaggerate, underappreciate anything that was said. You'll hear exactly what the doctor said, and you'll be able to make your own estimations. We got here around 8:15 in the morning, waiting for the doctor at 10 a.m. We sat, had a coffee, and as time is progressing and that time is chunking down to the 10 a.m. mark, all that's going through my mind is where I started this whole process of pure acceptance of this event. I never found myself fighting this, right? I found myself leveraging it. I found myself saying, how can I give purpose to this pain? How can I find a way to utilize it for others? I'll document myself. I'll create a digital course about victory and success while having a brain tumor. I will find ways to make my pain meaningful. And yet to this day, to this very moment, I still haven't decided if that is or is not the right coping mechanism. Maybe it's just completely fucked up, or maybe it's what may potentially save my life. Whatever it is, it was the way I decided to deal with it, and it's what gave me that peace of mind where we started this whole journey. But as I find myself in that place of acceptance, I find myself about 7 minutes before walking into the doctor's office, and I'm just standing in the neurosurgery ward, and my dad asks me, why don't you stand, somewhere else? And I look left and I look right, and I think about the crazy 11 nights that I spent in that ward, and I'm saying, I don't want to be here right now. I'm in acceptance of it because there's nothing I can do about it. But desire-wise, I don't want to go walk there because I have a million scary memories from there, and I don't want to walk there because I got way too many traumas from there. Like, this is not where I want to be. But here, you don't get to choose the script, right? We talked about that. You're the star, not the director. And there I am. And I'm literally looking at my watch and saying, when my Omega Swatch watch turns 10 a.m. exactly, I'm going to knock on the door. 10 a.m. comes, and I knock on the door, and I walk in. Now, I just want to remind you, I don't remember if I already said it this episode, but I am walking in waiting to accept one of three results. Either the tumor was benign, meaning it is not cancerous, which means that I'm cured, that it's cancerous and that I'll be starting chemotherapy and radiology, or that it's cancerous and we have to do another brain surgery. No one's talked to me about distributions, chances, nothing. Even more than that, I haven't researched, I haven't looked up online, I haven't done shit. I don't want to do anything. There's an old Moroccan saying that says tabil turbach, which means the stupid people are the smart people. I wanted to be stupid when it came to that stuff because I knew that the more I knew, the scarier it would be. I walk into his office, I asked him if I can record the conversation for my wife, for my family, and he says, no problem. My father walks out, and him and I sit alone in this office, and he says, first of all, tell me what's the last 2 weeks been like? And I tell him, it's been a fucking ride. I've been swearing more. I've been much more direct. I've been much more honest. I feel much less inhibitory. I just say things as they are. I feel myself. I'm much more emotional. I have more love than ever. And I feel cognitively at my peak. Psychologically, I'm a bit of a shit show, but I can understand why. And I'm putting in the work to take care of that. And here I am waiting for the results that are just as important as the surgery. So he verifies and says, look, all the things you're feeling are logical. It's okay. Remember, you just went through brain surgery. And then he says, now let's talk about the results. And he starts talking about things that I never knew because, like I said, I didn't even research. I didn't ask any of these questions. And he says, look, the way it works is like this. When we do a biopsy, there are 4 stages. There are 4 potential stages that say how benign or cancerous it is. If it's stage 1, it is completely benign, meaning there's nothing. You're cured, you get to go back to life, and all is well. But stage 2 to stage 4 is concerning. Obviously, stage 2 is less concerning, but it's still very concerning. 3 and 4 is pretty much you're fucked. And there was a moment inside of my mind that the whole room just froze. And I'm just sitting there, and all that's going through my mind is that I just want to see my kids, and I just want to see my wife, and I still want to do good things. I have a lot of things that I want to do. And just like kind of like in this movie-esque fashion, it just snaps back right back into the conversation. And he looks at me and he says, so here's what happens. Usually somebody your age and my age, right? 36, and I'm assuming he's probably mid-40s, closer to 50. He says, usually someone your age, my age, if they discover a brain tumor, they're stage 2 to stage 4. But you're stage 1. We were shocked. We were thrilled. We don't know why, but you were stage 1. And you're cured. You get to go back to your life. There's still a road to recovery, but within a few weeks you'll cut down the medication. Within a few weeks you'll get to start going back to physical activity. You'll have a nice little Harry Potter scar over your eye. It's going to take a good amount of time. We'll get you to see a plastic surgeon soon. But you're stage 1 and your tumor is benign. And I sat there and I apologized, and I said, I apologize, I'm a bit emotional, and I just started crying. I didn't know to think if it would be this, or I didn't take the time to think if it would be this. I sat with my father for coffee, and he started making his trajectory projections of, look, you know, there's scales to these things. It might be cancerous. It might be a little cancerous. Like I said, until he told me stage 1 to 4, I had no idea. The word biopsy is still new to me. It's only been a month in my lexicon. But when he told me that people your age are supposed to be stage 2 to 4, and we were happy to see that you were stage 1, my wife, I spoke to her afterwards, and she said, are you happy? I said, not yet. Right now, I'm still in shock. Even now, as I'm sharing this with you, you are actually, you'll only see this in a good number of weeks, but you guys are the first people that are hearing this, aside from my close friends and my wife. But to know that I get to hold my kids again, and to know that I get to hold my wife again, and to know that I'm coming back. I even sent to my friends, instead of sending them personal messages, I sent them the clip from Wolf on Wall Street that says, I'm not fucking leaving. Stage 1 benign, heart. That was all I sent. I told the doctor also, look, I know I'm not supposed to be here right now. This is just, Even now as I'm sharing this, like my brain is not processing it. It just doesn't understand. It doesn't understand why I get to be the person who sits in a hospital and cries of joy. Like how many people leave the hospital crying of happiness? One of the beautiful things that I heard once in Judaism is that there was a big rabbi that says, in Hebrew, the word hospital is the house of the sick. That's how it's directly translated. So he wanted to suggest that it should be rephrased to the house of people who are getting healthy. And I personally love that. I think the psychology that comes with that and what it gives people is so much. But I don't think I've had very many times that I know that people that are leaving the hospital crying of happiness because they know that they were just given life anew, especially when it's not supposed to happen this way and that I'm not supposed to be here right now. My wife has already heard the recording like 6 times because she's in absolute shock. She said she knew it was benign, but she's still in absolute shock. I don't really have much more to say than that. It's just it's a miracle. One of the things that we always talk about in life is that how each day is a miracle. You wake up and you should be thankful. And I've talked about in the episodes that, if you wake up and someone doesn't have to ask you, what your name is, what year it is, where you're located. If, you wake up and someone tells you, doesn't have to tell you, you have a brain tumor and you're not going to survive, how grateful you should be. My biggest wish for this episode is that I could plant in your heart the level of life that I'm feeling in this moment. If I could, I would go today to the internal ministry and even physically change my birth date to this day, November 19th. I don't think that flies for bureaucratic reasons, but November 19th is definitely going to turn into a new celebratory day for me. Now, in regards to mental toughness, I've never talked about mental toughness in regards to gratefulness. In fact, I've never even taken the time to put in that thought. But if you can't make the time to be grateful for the opportunity to play the game, each one of you have an opportunity to play the game. If you're listening to this, by definition, you are alive, right? You are not in a finish line. You are in a process. You are playing the game. Every single one of you have an opportunity to play the game. And if you are not playing the game, then what the fuck are you doing? You don't want to have to get to the place that you potentially lose everything to all of a sudden say, wow, I got to change everything. It shouldn't have to work like that. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but even post-brain surgery and with a year of recovery ahead of me, and God knows how long this whole process takes, I consider myself way more blessed than most of you. Because I got to kiss death and taste life anew. And I still need time to process to really understand where mental toughness meets gratefulness. And I'm sure that there is some kind of relationship. Usually mental toughness is about pushing yourself and challenging yourself. But look, if you don't have the opportunity to play the game, then you can't even be grateful to begin with. Like you can't even, you can't do shit. So maybe to summarize the episode, as Leonardo DiCaprio said in The Wolf on Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving. I got a lot of game left to play. I am so excited and I am so grateful. And if anything, I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, am A, grateful to any of you who've been following this process, and B, pray for all of us that we manage to continue building that mental toughness, because yes, the game will get harder. The fact that I walk out of here with the best news that I ever received in my life doesn't mean that I'm not going to come back here one day. Shit can still go down. But to leave with this new level of appreciation and this new level of humility and this new level of drive to play with conviction, purpose, and mental toughness, I think that's the real results that I'm walking out with. So, a little bit less practical, a little bit more story today, but with all that said, I also get to go after all of this afternoon and go celebrate my son's birthday, which I didn't tell you. Today's his birthday. He's been asking me to promise him that I'll come and celebrate his birthday. I haven't been able to make that promise because all we know is that we don't know anything at all. In about 4.5 hours time, I'm going to surprise him. And it's very possible that even better than receiving the results of that biopsy, that might be even a better moment of my life. So I hope that you get to enjoy moments like that. I'm grateful for you being part of this journey. Keep building your mental toughness. If you have any ideas of how you can incorporate gratefulness and mental toughness, which is a really unique combination that I've never explored or thought about, not until this moment, send me a message. I would love to hear. And good things are coming. Thank you for listening. And like always, I'll see you on the other side.